My name is Cameron Nazir, and this week's topic I've chosen for my assignment is explain the usage of the five most important synthesis modules, which are oscillator, filter, amplifier, envelope, and LFO. I will start by explaining oscillator first, which is also called as voltage controlled oscillator. Oscillator can be described in simple words as a sound creator, which creates sound based on a geometric waveform. Typically, the VCO, or the voltage controlled oscillator, outputs a selection of waveforms containing harmonics, which allow a number of different timbres to be achieved by subsequent filtering. Commonly found waveforms are the triangle wave, the sawtooth wave, pulse wave, um, which can also, often with pulse width modulation also under control of a controlled voltage, and the sine wave, which contains no harmonics but is useful in reinforcing other waveforms as well as building up waveforms using the technique of additive synthesis. The second module we have is filters, which are also called as voltage controlled filters. In a synthesizer, the sound after leaving the oscillator reaches the filter. There can be one filter or many filters depending upon what kind of synthesizer you have. Main types of filters are low pass, high pass, band pass, notch, and comb filters. In a synthesizer, the low pass filter is the most important one because in the geometric waveforms, they are so bright that we have to remove the high end drastically. Filter can be modulated, and the most important modulatable thing is the cutoff frequency. Filter in an oscillator tends to be a resonant filters because resonance is there because of the feedback, and we have to bring into account the amount of feedback when we're talking about the filters. The third and fourth component are the amplifiers, which also called as voltage controlled amplifiers, and of course we'll discuss envelope in this part as well. After passing through the filter, the sound reaches the amplifier in a synthesizer, and it keeps on moving all the time rapidly. There is always a specific modulator attached to a VCA, and that specific modulator is an envelope. An envelope is a set pattern. Every time a key is pressed, which usually it goes up, comes down, stays for a while, and then comes down to zero again. We define the path of an envelope using four components. The first one is attack time. The attack time is the time it takes from the start level to reach the maximum level. And then we've got the decay time. The decay time is the time from the maximum level to till reaching the sustain level. And then we have the sustain level itself, which is the longest part of a note, the sound you can hear for the longest time. And then we have the release time, which goes from the sustain level to zero, or the starting level. All these components are time except sustain, which is the level and shows the state at which note stays for the longest time. And the last part we have is LFO, which is also called as low frequency oscillator. The final component in a synthesizer is an LFO, which is a modulator like an envelope. Envelope used to follow a certain path, but the LFO is cyclic in nature. It is used to show things like vibrato. One of the main things LFO will modulate is the VCO. The output of the LFO is connected to the input of the VCO. When we have a modulation, there will always be three things to worry about. The first one is source of modulation. In this case, it's the LFO. The second is destination of modulation. In this case, it's the VCO. And third, the amount of modulation. The main difference between an oscillator and an LFO is the rate at which they operate. The LFO operates at a range which is lower than the human hearing, that is below 20 Hz. So we cannot hear the output of the LFO, but it's only useful to control something else. Sorry about the coughing. I've not been feeling well for a while, and many thanks for your assessment. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.